Let's talk about it here at Next Table Talk. We're approaching Mother's Day, and we're here just kind of giving our thoughts and just talking about mothers. And what I want each one of y'all to do, we have Crystal Washington, then we have Robert Mayes, and then we have Janet George, who's here that's going to talk with us here. We're just talking, chopping it up. The thing I really want Sister Washington, Crystal, if she would just kind of give her thoughts first, and then we just go down the road and talk. But I want her thoughts on, do we make a difference, or more of a difference? We recognize the older mothers than we do, put more emphasis on older mothers than we do young mothers. Because I'm under the impression that regardless of one's age, and you give birth, you're a mother. Whether you are 20, whether you are 18, whether you are 80, 60, or 50. What is your thought, Crystal?
I feel like we do give more emphasis to the older mothers. The younger mothers don't get as much credit because we are younger, we have less experience. And we're looking to our older generation to help us understand what we can do as mothers to help parent our children. I feel like we get a lot of information from the older generation, but not as much credit for the things that we have to deal with. I feel like back then there wasn't as much to do per se as now, where the younger generation is working and we're having to raise our kids still. And I feel like we don't get as much credit, but the older generation does give us a lot of information.
Let me ask you this here. Well, then the credit that you're saying that, you don't get much credit, y'all doesn't get recognized and don't get much credit. What would you like to see a little bit different in that? Because sometimes in churches we recognize, and it's always the oldest mother who have the most kids, but I see that the young mothers are often left out.
Right. I think it'd just be great just to be acknowledged that, we're doing our part, we're working every day, we're raising our kids, we're getting to church on Sundays with our children, we're getting them dressed, we're feeding them, that we're still raising our children, although we're younger. Especially nowadays, a lot of younger women are having kids at younger ages, and it's hard. It's very hard for those mothers to be accepted when they're young having children, because there's the stereotype of they had a child young, and so you don't flock to that mother because you think they don't know what they're doing. But I just feel like if we give any of our younger mothers more credit and let them know that we're here for you, that it would go a long way. We feel more accepted.
Janet?
I agree with Crystal because I too was a young mother. I had my first child when I was about 26 years old, but I was also married. So it was frightening for me. I lived many miles away from home. I raised my children alone, basically, because I was in a foreign area. My husband was in the military. My mother was in Mississippi. I lived in Texas. You're talking about 10 to 12 hours away. So this was really foreign to me. It was brand new. And there was a lot of things that I was afraid of. But I remember having an older, seasoned mother in the church. When my son would cry, I would get alarmed because I did not want him to interfere with the church service. But she would tell me, she would sit by me, and she would hold my hand. She said, he's not going to be young forever. So I needed that seasoned mother to encourage me, to let me know that it was okay. It's really nothing wrong with being a young mother. But when we have another person to hold our hand and let us know that it is going to be okay. She would tell me, encourage me in the church. She said, let him cry. She said, because he's going to be okay. You're not going to be where you are forever. And I wasn't. My son grew up. But a lot of times the older mothers forget, the kids get noisy. Their kids were noisy before too. So we just need that encouragement that it is okay. It is okay. There's nothing wrong with the child crying. I can recall getting up sometimes during service and just riding in the car so he could fall asleep because I didn't want the interruption. But it's good to know that they can embrace you and let you know all is well. Because they've gone some places that we have yet to go. And now you look at postpartum depression and you look at some other things that families are faced with. And we need that encouragement from the older. I'm older now. But the young women need the encouragement from the older mothers. I agree.
Robert, what was your thought?
I would say the same thing, ditto to both what the young lady said, because a lot of times a young person don't know what they're going through until they talk to someone that's been through something. And I always say you never know what that person can teach you in life because they've been through it before, and they can give you some guidance to where you need to go at all times. You know, a lot of times we overlook our older people, older women in the church, our seniors in the church, think they don't know nothing, but that's a value to you to get with those older ladies and mothers of the church and learn something from them.
Amen.
Absolutely.
You know, this thing about love, you know, we love our mothers, I'm just now really experiencing what long distance love, that's what I want to call it, long distance love. Many times I've talked about it because there are those who mothers have gone on, and it's a difference between being separated from between time and space has separated us, but there's still yet a love.
Yes.
But it seems to me, and this is my first year without my mom, that the love is even stronger.
Amen.
Because of the things that she instilled in me. I know that she loved me.
Amen.
You know, a lot of times we don't know that we don't understand perhaps the love and what they're saying to us, or teaching us.
Right.
But then when they're not there, that love, it comes back and you say, oh, okay, what greater love, you know. It's just that, and it's a difference of not having one. And I always challenge everyone to love your mother. I mean, do for your mother. Call her, see about her, talk to her, because when she's gone, it's a difference. There is a void there. What are your thoughts on that? I know that you may have not experienced that, but what do you think about when you think about somebody you may know in that situation?
I honestly cannot imagine not having my mother or my grandmother. My grandmother helped raise me. She's helping me raise my grandchildren at the moment as my children at the moment as well. She brings them to church on Sundays. She helps after school. And I cannot imagine her not being there teaching the lessons that I cannot teach my kids. There are so many things that I might overreact on that she brings in. Calm down, it's not that serious. And she helps redirect me on raising my children. Without her knowledge, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Wow, that's powerful there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Robert, what you?
One of the biggest things I said before, love your mother while you have her, because you never know when she's going to leave. You never know when anyone's going to leave, but cherish a moment with all your family, because no one is going to love you like your mother or your family, so cherish every moment you have with your mother, your family, everyone. And it's just a blessing. You know, my mother passed away in January, and today, this is my first time not having her on Mother's Day, and I dearly miss her and I love her, but I know she's in a better place, and I'll just tell you, love your mother while you're at a time.
Janet?
And I concur with what everybody is saying. I was young when my mom passed. My mom has been gone for about 17 years now. It gets easier. But life is short, no matter how long you live. And a lot of times we take for granted because we have mom there with us on a daily basis. But the day will come that mom won't be with you. And I agree with pastors that we don't need to take it for granted. We need to embrace our moms. We need to love our moms. There are days when you're not going to agree with mom.
Amen.
But God has placed her here, and we need to honor that. And we need to let them know on a daily basis, not just Mother's Day, but on a daily basis, that Mom, I love you. Amen. Because there's going to come a time you're not going to hear Mama's voice. And I'm telling you that I've witnessed it. Mother's Day is difficult for me sometimes, although Mom's been gone 17 years. You know, I'm an orphan, so I get it. But we need to just embrace our moms while we have them, because God's going to say one day it's finished. It's finished.
You know, you said something powerful there about that was a mom in the church.
Yes.
And, you know, even though that our biological mother may not be with us, but there is, if we find a mom, you know, that older person, or that person may be young, that person that can help us and give us that comfort, that closeness and that love. There's a short piece of verse in the Bible. It's rarely and seldom even mentioned over in Romans chapter 16 and verse 13, what Paul says, he says to Rufus, salute, Rufus, salute your mother and mine. And he calls Rufus' mother his mother. And that's a strong love, because he never mentions within the Bible, he never really talks about his family, his mother or his father or any of that. But he talks about her, Rufus's mother, being his mother. And that's a powerful piece when we can find someone. And I don't think that you don't have to be old of well age to be that mother for someone, because we all need someone to love, to show us, to help us. And that's going to always be there for us. You know?
That's right.
And I do want to say that I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I thank you for being here, sharing in this next Table Talk. And those that may be listening in, I ask that you subscribe to it. And then we wish you all mothers, every mother, a happy Mother's Day. Till the next Table Talk.